If you've got limited vacation days and a limited budget, you don't just need a train ticket, you need the right pass for the way you actually travel. Today we're putting the Japan Rail Pass and the USA Rail Pass into a head-to-head value showdown to see which one gives you more real-world trip for your money. The Japan Rail Pass. Who it really serves. The Japan Rail Pass is ideal for visitors who want to string together multiple cities over a short trip. Think Tokyo, Kyoto, Osaka, Hiroshima in 7 or 14 days. It's built for fast, intercity hops on high frequency, mostly on time trains. So it works best if you're willing to plan a rail-first itinerary and actually use those Shinkansen trains instead of flying. It favors travelers who like flexibility within a structure. Once the pass is paid for, saying, "Let's add one more city," usually doesn't add extra cost, just time and energy. Now let's give an overview of the USA Rail Pass and who it really serves. The USA Rail Pass is for travelers who see the journey as the main event. This is slower, scenic, long-distance routes where watching the country roll by is part of the experience. It makes more sense if you have more time than money, are okay with fewer frequencies and more variability in arrival times, and don't mind building your schedule around the trains instead of just plugging trains into an already tight itinerary. It's best suited to people who want a rolling road trip without driving. Digital nomads, gap-year travelers, retirees, or creators who can turn long train days into office days with a view. So how do you know which camp you're in? If your priority is see as many different cities and regions as possible in one focused trip, you're in Japan Rail Pass territory. If your priority is soak in landscapes, treat the train as my moving home base. And I'm okay with slower, more unpredictable days, you're in USA Rail Pass territory. So let's talk about what these passes buy you in the real world, not just what's printed on the brochure. The Japan Rail Pass is a compact country-dense network. So what does a 7-day Japan Rail Pass, typical value itinerary look like? For this pass, the number of cities you can easily reach is between 4 up to 6 in a week. For example, Tokyo to Kyoto to Osaka to Hiroshima to Miyajima and back to Tokyo. The number of hours on trains is roughly 18 to 25 hours of actual train time, mostly on Shinkansen and limited express services with no overnight travel. Typical routes people run are the Tokyo to Kyoto, Osaka, and back to Tokyo. The Kyoto, Osaka to and from Hiroshima. Plus side trip add-ons like Himeji, Kanazawa, Nagano, Nikko, or day trips from your bases. On a pass, those big Shinkansen jumps are prepaid. So every extra city you add along that spine, Tokyo to Nagoya to Kyoto to Osaka to Hiroshima, increases the value you're getting per yen. Without a pass, each one of those long legs is a meaningful hit to the budget, which is why pass users tend to say yes to more side trips and extra hops. You're essentially buying high speed between cities, often over 200 kilometers per hour. In addition, you're getting high frequency, multiple departures per hour on busy corridors. Plus the ability to stack several big jumps into 7 days without watching each individual fare. USA Rail Pass are truly long distances, long days on the train. With a USA Rail Pass, the picture looks very different. The number of cities is often 3 to 5 main stops on a pass, but spread over much larger distances. For example, Chicago to Denver to Salt Lake City to Emeryville, San Francisco. You spend hours on trains. It's easy to log 40 all the way up to 80 hours of train time on a single pass if you use it for long overnight routes. The typical routes people run include Chicago to Denver, Salt Lake City to and from the Bay Area, on the California Zephyr. There is also Seattle or Portland to and from Los Angeles or San Diego, on the Coast Starlight and Pacific Surfliner. Another popular route is Chicago to and from New Orleans or the East Coast, or variations along those long-haul lines. Here, your money buys you distance and scenery more than raw efficiency. You're using one pass to cross multiple states in a single ride, often overnight, with dining car time, lounge car time, and big window views becoming part of the value. You're essentially buying very long point-to-point segments instead of lots of short hops. You're getting scenic, slow travel days where the cost per hour of experience is low, even if the punctuality isn't as strong. You get fewer, but more epic, moves rather than lots of quick city swaps. So in simple terms, the Japan Rail Pass means more cities, shorter rides, high speed and frequency. Great if your goal is maximum variety in 7 to 14 days. Whereas the USA Rail Pass is fewer cities, very long rides, big scenery, which is great if your goal is one big rail adventure across huge distances. There's one big difference the price tag doesn't show you, which is what happens at night. On the Japan Rail Pass, most of your long moves are daytime runs. You're doing 2 to 4 hour Shinkansen hops between cities, then sleeping in a real bed in a hotel at the end of the day. The trains are frequent enough that you can usually pick a departure that fits your schedule and still arrive in time for dinner. With the USA Rail Pass, a lot of the value is packed into overnight, long-haul segments. Routes like Denver to Salt Lake City on the California Zephyr are often a single daily train, taking around 14 hours and running through the night. You're not swapping a flight for a quick train hop. You're swapping a hotel night for a coach seat or a paid sleeper upgrade. Same story on routes like Glacier National Park to Seattle on the Empire Builder. The schedule often pushes at least part of the journey into the overnight window, and unless you pay extra for a roomette, you're sleeping in your seat. So even though your cost per hour on the rails looks great on paper, you need to ask, am I actually okay sleeping in a chair for parts of these long runs? Am I budgeting extra for a sleeper cabin on the longest overnights? Or am I going to end up paying for hotels anyway because the timing doesn't quite work? In Japan, the pass mostly buys you fast daytime transfers between real hotel nights. In the US, the pass often buys you slow overnight travel that can replace a hotel, but only if you're comfortable actually sleeping on the train. That overnight factor is a huge part of whether the USA Rail Pass feels like an incredible deal or a false economy. If you hate sleeping in a seat, you'll either be miserable or you'll quietly erase a lot of your savings with hotel nights and sleeper upgrades. For this video, let's use round numbers just to keep the math simple. We'll say the 7-day Japan Rail Pass costs around 50,000 yen, which is roughly $330. And the USA Rail Pass comes in at about $499 for 10 segments valid for 30 days. Now what does that actually buy you? If you squeeze 5 or 6 real city stops out of a 7-day Japan Rail Pass, you're effectively paying somewhere in the $50 to $65 per city range for fast, mostly on-time Shinkansen hops. If you end up spending around 20 hours on trains that week, that's roughly $16 an hour for high-speed, high-frequency rail that stitches your whole itinerary together. With the USA Rail Pass it flips. You might only use 6 to 8 of those 10 segments on a realistic trip, and maybe hit 3 or 4 big stops, but you could easily log 40 to 60 hours on trains. That puts you at something like $80 to $125 per city, but only about $8 to $12 per hour of long-distance, big window train time. So Japan gives you more cities for your money, while the USA gives you more hours of train experience for your money. The better deal is whichever one matches the way you like to travel. Now let's zoom out from spreadsheets and talk about what it actually feels like to live on these trains for a week. The Japan Rail Pass is the precision and friction-free travel. In Japan, the value isn't just yen per mile. It's how little you have to think about the mechanics of moving. Trains are usually clean, quiet, and on time to the minute, which makes tight connections and ambitious itineraries feel safe instead of stressful. The experience on board is calm and orderly, comfortable seats, reliable Wi-Fi on many Shinkansen, easy luggage handling, which makes each jump between cities feel like a quick reset rather than a big travel day. In contrast, USA Rail Pass is big views and big rail days. The US Rail Pass value is wrapped up in the journey vibes as much as the destination. Long-distance trains give you wide seats, big windows, lounge cars, and the feeling of rolling through entire states in one sitting. But you pay for that atmosphere with more variability, which can include delays that are common, schedules that are less frequent, and a 12-hour ride that can easily become a long travel day you have to be mentally ready for. If you like stacking experiences tightly, temples in the morning, city nightlife at night, the Japan Rail Pass rewards that style with reliability and low friction. If you like slow mornings, long reading sessions, working by a window, and treating the train like your moving living room, the USA Rail Pass rewards that style with sheer hours of scenery and unplugged time. On paper, one pass might look cheaper. But if you hate long days on the rails, or if you hate rushing, the wrong pass will feel expensive no matter what the math says. Now that we've talked money and comfort, This segment is about how much flexibility each pass really gives you, and how much risk you're taking on when you build a trip around it. With the Japan Rail Pass, your flexibility comes from frequency and reliability more than from open-ended wandering. You can decide the night before to take an earlier or later Shinkansen, slot in a side trip to somewhere like Himeji or Kanazawa, and still feel confident you'll get there roughly when you expect. The risk is low. If one train is crowded or slightly delayed, there's usually another not far behind. And the network is dense enough that you rarely feel stranded. With the USA Rail Pass, your flexibility is more about how you use your segments than when you travel. You can decide to burn 2 segments in a row for a massive cross-country push, or hop off sooner and explore somewhere unexpected. But the risk is higher. Fewer departures, more frequent delays, and some routes running once a day, and sometimes less, which mean a missed connection or a long delay can ripple through your plans in a big way. You have freedom, but you need buffer days and a relaxed mindset to enjoy it. If your trip personality is planner who still likes a bit of spontaneity, the Japan Rail Pass fits. You can improvise within a solid structure. If your trip personality is, I'm okay with plans changing as long as the story is good, the USA Rail Pass fits. The unpredictability becomes part of the narrative. Ask yourself, do I want my Rail Pass to give me options without stress, or stories even if things go sideways? Your answer probably tells you more than any price chart. If you've watched this far hoping for one clear winner, here's the honest answer. The better pass is the one that matches how you like to travel, not what looks best on a spreadsheet. The Japan Rail Pass is the move if you want maximum variety in a compact country. Lots of cities, short high-speed hops, and the confidence that the train you booked will almost certainly leave and arrive close to on time. It wins on cost per city, reliability, and how effortless it makes fitting a ton of experiences into 7 to 14 days. The USA Rail Pass shines if you care more about the journey than the city count. Long, scenic days, big windows, lounge cars, and the feeling of crossing entire regions in one ride. It wins on cost per hour of train life and slow travel vibes, as long as you're okay with fewer frequencies and more unpredictability. So instead of asking, which pass is better, ask, do I want efficient city hopping with tight, reliable connections? Or do I want a big cinematic rail adventure, even if things run late? Let me know in the comments which camp you're in and which pass you pick for your next big rail trip. If this breakdown helped, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with a friend who's planning their own train-heavy adventure.